Let's talk about how to pass the Airbus video interview. What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Ready English here to help you get hired with another Pass the Interview video for the airplane manufacturing giant Airbus. Today we're going to be talking about what you can expect in their recruitment process, the most common interview questions that have been asked based upon our research from publicly available sources over the past 6 months, and finally a rapid fire round. We're going to talk about other questions that were asked and how you can think about answering them. If you want more support to help you pass your Airbus video interview, check out the Airbus Pass the Interview pack, which contains not only this research note, which is everything I'm going to talk about, including 5 fast facts about the company, but everything that you need to prepare, get your scripts together and deliver great answers with confidence. Let's get started. When we did our research from candidates who've been through the Airbus process, we found that generally they reported it takes about 3 months to complete. You get asked to do online tests, a video interview, and then asked to an assessment centre. And at the assessment centre, you're asked to do a group task, an individual interview, and then a chance to speak to current employees. Sometimes when we do our research, we don't always get to find out how many questions are asked in the interview and also how long those questions are going to be. So we tend to assume for no more than 7 questions in a video interview and allow for 2 minutes to answer and 1 minute to respond. This tends to be a really helpful average that we have used over the years. So let's talk about 7 most common interview questions. These are questions which, when we did our research, came up multiple times from different candidates saying that they've been asked this. So we tend to think, well, it's reasonably probable that they're going to be asked again. These are the questions that we would prepare for if we didn't have a lot of time. Question 1, why Airbus? So whenever you answer a motivational question about any company, you want to think about 5 facts that you can talk about to do with the company. You can actually get that in our research note where I've already picked out 5 fast facts for you. The reason being is you want to make sure you're delivering facts which cannot be said about any other company. And I'll give you an example of this. Often when I hear clients or people who book me for hourly sessions deliver this answer, they'll say, oh, I want to work for this company because it's big and it's famous and they're really cool and I'd have great experiences and the training's good and I'd work with a world famous team. I would say that probably constitutes 80% of the answers that I hear from first time clients, but the truth is that you could say that about any company. So do your homework, go and look at their annual report, go and look at their news, their blogs, their clients, go and have a look through Airbus's website. This shouldn't take you no longer than 15 or 20 minutes. And if you can, so it doesn't sound like a boring list that you're just reading out about the company, it's a good idea for you to pick at least one of those reasons. Say, this is something that personally means something to me. So it could be their charitable efforts, it could be their efforts to be carbon neutral, it could be their efforts towards the environment and how that resonates with you personally. I find that's a nice little personal touch. Question 2, why do you want to do this role? So this is the second motivational question that you're probably going to get. So when you're answering this question, make sure that you have the job description to hand. A good job description is going to tell you what would your daily responsibilities be and what are the skills that are required for this job. They could be soft skills, teamwork, leadership, interpersonal communication skills. They could be hard skills. Maybe you need to code in a particular language, a particular qualification, maybe you need to speak a second or third language. So you want to make sure that you're picking up on those things when you deliver your answer. And we always train our clients to deliver their answer in 2 parts. The first part of your answer is going to be, this is what I would do. As a graduate mechanical engineer at Airbus, I would be expected to 1, 2, 3. The reason being for this is that it really demonstrates to your employer, or to really the AI algorithm that's going to be picking out keywords from your answer, that you understand what the job requires. Plenty of people, myself included, have applied for jobs and gone like, I can't even remember what this is, I don't even really know what I'm going to do. The second part is going to pick out a couple of the skills that they find really important. Now here's a quick tip for you. If the job description that you have in front of you is not particularly helpful, sometimes job descriptions can be a little bit salesy, so they kind of sell the role or sell the company. They don't really tell you very much about what you're going to do and what skills you need. Then just type in the job description title into Google and find another company that actually lists out a really helpful job description, because the chances are it's going to be reasonably similar. Question 3, tell us about a time when you worked in a team. Teamwork is important for pretty much any company that you're going to be working with. You're going to be answering this using STAR, situation, task, action, result. If you're not sure how to use STAR, you want to know how to hack the STAR technique, or even better, you want to learn how to tell STAR stories, which you can use to answer pretty much any competency interview question. Check out the Airbus Pass the Interview pack down in the description below. Now, the most important thing to remember about STAR is you want to place the emphasis, I would say at least 60% of your answer, into the actions that you took. That's what's really important. Whenever somebody asks you a competency question like, tell me about a time when you worked as part of a team, really what they're saying to you is, do you understand and can you demonstrate what good teamwork is? So what this means is, when you pick out your example, ideally it should be from work, if not from volunteering or extracurricular activities, and finally you want to pick something out from your academics. Any of those are fine, but some are better than others. If I'm applying for a job, then really I want to use an example which is based from work, because they are similar types of things, a similar category of experiences. So when you're answering this, you just want to pick out 4 or 5 things that you did that demonstrate that you're good at teamwork. If you're not sure about what are good teamwork skills, just pop it into Google and you'll have a heap of resources that you can pick out a couple of things that you can then sew into your answer. Question number 4, what's your most significant achievement? Now, I love this question, and I also love answers which are honest, vulnerable, and tell me something about the candidate in question. Now, as I've listened to this answer over the years since I've been training clients for thousands of interviews since 2013, the answers that resonate with me most deeply and really I feel make an impact on me are the ones that are true. So what I mean by that is, sometimes I'll hear people give answers and say, oh, when I had an internship at this company, I had to write a report and I was really pleased with it, and that's my greatest achievement. Is it though? Is it really? I don't think so. It comes across as disingenuous or a bit false, and therefore is not particularly of interest to me. I find the answers that I've really liked is, say for example, someone's overcome an illness, someone's moved the country to study, someone has retaken an exam, someone has achieved something in their personal life they didn't believe was possible, like publishing a poem or passing a particular exam for their hobby, like getting a belt in a martial art. I find personally, I prefer honesty and resonance. And the best way to think about this is, don't imagine that you're talking to a camera or to an interview. Just imagine that you're talking to a friend, or maybe somebody you just started dating. They're like, what's the thing that you're most proud of? You'd give them an answer that you feel really demonstrates who you are as a person. Question number 5, tell me about a time there was a conflict and how you dealt with it effectively. Now, conflict is common in the workplace. It's not so much this. Conflict is really just about a disagreement, a different way of doing things. And very often for me, when I've observed in my business or in my teams that I've been running, conflict is really just about miscommunication. It's just about one person said this, another person said that, and they didn't communicate together and they kind of knocked heads. What's really important in conflict, of course, you can use everything that I told you before about STAR and picking out the key skills, but for me, when I break down conflict in terms of how I would resolve it, number 1 is listening to that person and their differences of opinion. I might have to listen to multiple people, getting all the information together. Then it's talking to each one of those people individually. I tend not to try and resolve conflict in a group setting because I don't want to risk someone feeling shamed or like they're being blamed in front of their peers. Then I try and understand what's the common ground and what's the result that we're trying to move forwards to. So for example, say we're trying to complete a project and there's a conflict within the team, then the thing that I'm most concentrating on is, of course, the well-being of the individual, but ultimately, how am I going to get that project done? What is it that needs to happen for all of those people to be able to work together? I might offer to help, I might stand in, I might offer some sort of direction or suggestion, I might separate people, bring people together, but it's all about thinking what is the common goal that we're working towards. Question 6, how would you lead a team? Well, this is a bit more of a strength-based question, talking about leadership, but I would definitely use it as an example. Again, we're going to want to use STAR, we're going to want to pick out a couple of skills, leadership skills that we want to include in action in our results. But for me, just kind of speaking on leadership, leadership is knowing where you're going. knowing basically what is our destination. That's not down to the team, that's down to you to kind of keep your eyes on the prize and to sort of, I would say, adjust people over time. The other thing is working hard. A good leader works hard. I've always felt like in my own business, I'm generally the first person here and the last person to leave. Not always, but I feel like that sets a good example. It's being able to listen to others. It's not being afraid to do work that you feel like some people I've observed may feel because they're a leader, certain work is beneath them. I feel like that's really dangerous and quite undermining. Something I really love about Japanese culture is that the boss will clean the toilet. I think that's a really good way to stay humble. And it's also, a lot of time leadership is not just about having vision, but also just, for me, a lot of good leadership is just about listening, educating yourself, seeking help from other sources, having additional resources, being able to preempt the future, so seeing things which could go wrong. Sometimes as well, this is definitely when I've seen people micromanage, or they'll say, oh, but I know how to do it. You know, I needed to tell them how to do this thing. People don't learn if they don't make mistakes. So a crucial thing that I've learned in my managerial capacity, I'd say probably over the last 8 years, since I was in my kind of like mid to late 20s, is that sometimes I can see that something is going to happen. I feel the effect that it's going to have is negligible, so I will allow that person to make that mistake. They then come back and say, I made a mistake, and I say, okay, cool, what did we learn? How can we do better next time? Everybody makes mistakes. Question number 7, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So if you've got 2 minutes to answer this question, pick one strength and one weakness. Strength, you can pick any of the skills that have been outlined in the job description, doesn't really matter which one, make sure you provide an example. With a weakness, I always like to give weaknesses that I feel like are true and is something that I am improving upon. Personally, for me, having listened to thousands of answers around this question, when someone says, I work too hard, I find it difficult to say no, I'm a people pleaser, those kinds of things, actually to me, it just sounds a bit lame, if I'm being honest with you. And it also doesn't sound true. I think everybody has those propensity or that ability to do that. Otherwise, they're not really that great in a work setting, to be frankly honest with you. Sometimes you have to do things that we don't want to do and say yes when really we want to say no. That's kind of the catch-22 of professional life. But what I would say is pick something for you which is true. So, for example, for me, sometimes when I lose momentum, I can find it really difficult to get back again. I've just got back into running after 3 months off. So what I do is to overcome that, I spoke to my friend and I said to her, look, I'm really struggling to get back into running. Please can we arrange a day where we can run together and then I can get back into it. So I know that left to my own devices, I'd probably leave running for another month or 2. So what do? I sought outside help. I set a date. That kind of ties into my need to not let people down and also to people please. I turned up and I went for the run and it was fine. And I suggest a similar weakness for you, something that is true that you can demonstrate you've learned a lesson from. So here's some rapid fire other questions that we found. There are 8 of them. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Here at Airbus, doing whatever I'd be doing in 5 years. How do you organise your workload? So you would prioritise, you diarise, you'd see what other people you need for help, and also you'd order by deadline. Describe a time you had to change someone's opinion. This is always very tricky. Very often I find that I can rarely change someone's opinion if I just meet it with another opinion. But if I meet it with facts, suggestions, warmth and love, it's generally a lot easier to do. Because a lot of times, if someone's opinion is going to be changed, it's because they get additional information. Who are our main competitors? Well, that's an easy one to research. Pop onto Google and find out their main competitors. What recent experiences do you have which will help you with this role? So pick out either from the responsibilities that you have or the skills, 2 or 3 things that you say, well, I did this and that's what I'd be doing here. Tell us about yourself. Check out the video card up here for the Tell Us About Yourself video, which has got a free worksheet you can download. You can learn everything you need to know for a perfect personal introduction. What do you know about our company? Very similar to why Airbus. Why are you interested in the sector? Make sure you do your research about the engineering and manufacturing sector, particularly related to airplanes. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let us know down in the comments below. Subscribe, we're going to be releasing loads more past the interview videos on a pretty much daily basis now. How did we do? Have you got an Airbus video interview coming up? Have you done one? Did you watch our video? Was it helpful? Is there another company that you'd like us to cover? Drop us a comment down in the description below. I do respond to all of the comments and I do read them. Thank you guys, bye.